Okay, so very good evening, students. Welcome to another recorded session of 2026 A level rapid revision. Okay, for the economics. So I think mm, in the last session we discussed 11 point until 11.4, I guess. I think the inequality section. Yes, 11.4. Okay, so today we are going to discuss the 11.5 onwards. Okay, so I think this will be a 3 hour session, most probably 3 hour session. Okay, so since this is a recorded session, I will try to cut those sessions and upload in a convenient way that you can understand this. Okay, so yes, this will be our my continuous session. So I am hoping today I'm hoping to finish the remaining lessons of unit 11 and the whole unit 12 session as well, unit 12 as well. Okay, so yes, I think this will be my last session. Okay, so yes, this will be my last session for the 2026 A level. Okay, so this has been a very good journey. We have started our rapid revision program in 2026 April first week. I can remember. Okay, so our first session was held in Zoom. So on that day, I said I'm going to cover this whole syllabus within 4 months with the practice of past papers. And just today, even I think 30 days, right? Yes, 30, less than, which means approximately 25 days. Okay, so even 25 days before, we are able to finish our syllabus. Okay, the whole entire syllabus, grade 12 and grade 13. We did questions. We focused on theories, very important theories for the exam. Okay, it's been a very good journey, very nice journey. It's a hard journey. Okay, so from myself and the yourself, we have to do a lot of commitments in order to achieve this thing. Yes, anyways, we did it, and I'm very much happy that we finished our syllabus even before the stipulated time. Okay, so it has been a very good journey. Okay, so yes, so what I am honestly asking is that your commitment. Still, you have 25 days, okay, for the exam, for your very known economics exam, August 10th. So please give some time towards to the subject, towards to the studies, and prepare well, do well the exam, okay, and achieve a good marks. Okay, I think your happiness is my reward. Your result is my reward. Okay, so yes, that's what I'm asking, honestly asking from you guys. Okay, so yes, uh, okay, let's start our session, and in between we can talk some further more details. Okay, so yes, we'll start with 11.5 poverty. 11.5 poverty. So, actually, what is meant by this poverty? Poverty. Forget the dude, forget the theory here. Think from your brain, okay? Because this lesson, Puta, you don't going to do this lesson from the part two, right? Actually, you are studying this lesson for the MCQ paper. So, if you want to achieve correct marks in the MCQ, what you have to do is you have to think from your brain logically. Okay, so actually, what is meant by poverty? Imagine poverty. Poverty means what? Not having the money. That is poverty, right? If you don't have enough money, that is poverty. So, enough money means enough, not enough for what? Not enough for what? Not enough to fulfill your needs. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you don't have enough money to eat the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner. Even you don't have enough money to drink water. That is poverty. You can't fulfill your basic needs. That is poverty. Simple as that. Okay. You don't have to memorize the definitions here. The tunes itself has some definitions, but you don't have to memorize it. What you want is just think logically. Just think logically the concept, the core concept. If you can think like that, you are the person. Okay. So yes, we'll start the poverty. So what the truth says, the inability of a person or a group to reach the minimum level of welfare. What is minimum level of welfare? Highlight the points in terms of income, consumption, housing, education, and human needs. Okay, based on the existing socio-economic conditions. Okay, so that is, in simple terms, we can say poverty means not enough money to fulfill the needs. Actually, this is the poverty. This is the poverty. And we can categorize this poverty as absolute poverty and relative poverty. So actually, what is meant by this absolute poverty? This absolute poverty is what? I think you can see the letters, right? You can see the letter. So actually, what is meant by this absolute poverty? Absolute poverty is what? Absolute poverty is what? You have no money. No money. You have no money to fulfill your needs. No money to fulfill your needs. Which means, in simple terms, I can say, සතයක්වත් නැහැ. හරිද? කන්න අතේ සතයක්වත් නැහැ. சாப்பிட ஒரு ரூபா கூட இல்ல கையில. So that is absolute poverty. No money for my needs. Absolute poverty. What is relative poverty? Relative poverty, which means you are relating yourself to another person. You are comparing. So you are thinking, compared to that person, I am very much poor. Compared to that person, I am very much poor. So you are comparing yourself with your neighbor. Okay, your neighbor, which means your neighbor boy have a bike and a car, a laptop, a huge iPhone 17, 17 Pro Max, and he is very much rich. So compared to him, I'm very much poor. I'm wearing slippers. I use a Samsung Galaxy phone, and I don't have a car. I just only have the push bicycle to ride. So that is relative poverty. Comparing. So comparing yourself with the neighbor. That is relative poverty. Okay, so that's what the dude says. Absolute poverty and the relative poverty. So that's the two forms of poverty. Next one, two natures of poverty. Two natures of poverty. Consumption poverty and human poverty. So actually, these are two forms. Next, we look at the two natures. First one is consumption poverty. Second one is human poverty. Consumption poverty is what? You don't have enough money to eat, which means අතේ සතයක් නෑ කන්න. එක වේලක්වත් කන්න. That is absolute poverty. Likewise, that is consumption poverty. Consumption poverty what? You don't have enough money to eat. That's a simple term, but actually it says there's a certain limit, right? So the dude says not receiving adequate income to maintain the minimum consumption level of survival. Minimum consumption level of survival. Minimum consumption level means what? For a day, you have to eat a bit rice, a paripu, a egg, a plenty amount of water, a pan. That's basic stuff, right? The basics are so let's forget it. So imagine yourself like this, okay? So you are going for a trip, okay? You are going for a trip with your friends. You are planning for a trip, okay? So it's a 2 day trip and it's a hike, right? Hike. You are going for a hike and you are staying there and you are coming back to the Colombo, okay? So I think with this you can remember it, okay? So yes, you are going for a trip, okay? You are going for a trip, okay? So with your friend, it's a hike and you stay there, you're putting a tent and you're coming back to the Colombo, okay? So that will be the plan. So this is a trip for 2 days. It's a 2 day trip, okay? 2 day trip. So since this is a 2 day trip, what you plan, okay? So you are going out of your home. So you have to live right for 2 days. So in order to live, what you have is you won't pack the luxury items, right? Okay, you won't pack the luxury items since this is a hiking. What you pack is the basic food items. The basic food items such as some rice, some breads, some water, juice. That's kind of a basic food items you pack for the 2 days, right? So Why you pick that basic food items instead of luxury items? Because you know, by eating that basic food such as the bread, pan, paripu, and basic rice, basic meats, you can survive for the 2 days, right? So that is the minimum level of consumption per day. So that will be the minimum level of consumption per day. So if a person can't attain that minimum level of consumption per day, that person is on consumption poverty. Consumption poverty, which means he can't have, the WHO says 2500 calories per day. 2500 calories per day. So if a person can't have 2500 calories per day, that means that person is on consumption poverty. Okay. And second one is human poverty. Human poverty is what? A person who don't have any good human relationship. Human relationship. Imagine a person who is always alone. Always alone. He don't have a mother, father, wife, any person to talk with him, any person to take care of him, any person to love himself. None of there. So no one is there him to talk or to tell anything. No friends, no love, no parents, no human good relationship. So that is known as human poverty. Human poverty. Okay, I think in the school some people are behaving like that, but it's not a human poverty. So which means දැන් කාත් එක්ක හරි රණ්ඩු වුණාම හරිද දැන් එක්කෙනෙක් එක්කෙනෙක් එක රණ්ඩු වෙනවා රණ්ඩු වුණාන් පස්සේ not the say very simple ne will tell like this. So yes, will say yes, a boy is fighting with his family. Okay, ළමෙක් ගෙදර එක්ක රණ්ඩු වෙනවා சரியா. ஸோ மகன் ஒரு பொடியன் வந்து வீட்டாக்களோட சண்டை பிடிக்கிறான். Okay, so he is fighting and he's telling, okay, you won't give the phone for me, right? You won't give the phone for me, so I won't talk to you for a month. I won't talk to you anymore. මං ආයෙ ඔයාලත් එක්ක කතා කරන්නෙම නැහැ. ඉනිමේ උங்களோட பேசவே மாட்டேன். So he's saying like that, and he's turning around and he is there for 2 days, 3 days, not talking with him. But he is not talking with him, but the mother and father is there in order to protect him, right? So not talking with the parents with a dispute, it's not a poverty, it's a dispute. Okay, because even there is a dispute or not, the parents are there for him. Okay, parents will take care of him. So he's not talking with his mom and father, but it doesn't mean the mom and father is not there. So he is eating from the mom and mom and dad is still taking care of him. So that doesn't mean the poverty. Okay, don't get wrong conclusions like that. Okay, so human poverty means no one is there for him. So that is known as human poverty. Okay. So yes, that's the pretty much of 11.5 in the page number 22. After that, we can go to the indexes for the poverty. The very first index is National Poverty Index. Second one, Poverty Headcount Index. Third one, International Poverty Line. Okay. Fourth one, Others. Okay. So look at the notes here for the National Poverty Index. An absolute poverty line constructed using the cost of basic needs approach. You know the what is meant by this basic needs, right? The basic needs are food, shelter, and clothes. Okay. It estimates the minimum monthly income needed to purchase basic food 2030 calories per day in Sri Lanka plus essential non-needs, okay, non-food needs. Published monthly updated price change by Department of Census and Statistics. Okay, people earning less than national poverty line is classified as poor. So, for the national poverty line, for the national poverty line, there is a line. There is a line of 2030 calories per day. 2030 calories per day. So if a person only can eat 2000 calories per day, which is in the national poverty line. Very simple. This is how you can remember the national poverty line. Next one, poverty headcount index. Population below the poverty line and the total population divided by 100. Yes. So imagine there are 100 people in the poverty line. 1000 people. Okay. So people in the poverty line and total population multiplied by 100. The ratio. Simple as that. Third one, international poverty line. So actually, what is this international poverty line? Extreme poverty is known as if a person earn less than $3, which means $3 per day, less than or $3 per day, which is known as extreme poverty. So $3 per day means uh, for Sri Lankan money, which is around 1000 rupees. 1000 rupees. So if a person is earning less than 1000 rupees means he is in the extreme poverty level. Mahaseta rupiah, so not for a month. If you earning less than 1000 rupees means what you can do by 1000 rupees. In the Colombo, you can't eat a lunch for 1000 rupees. A lunch is more than worth of 1000 rupees. You have to spend 1500, 600 for a lunch. Okay, so $3, earning $3 means extreme poverty, and $4.2 lower middle income, and $8.3 upper middle income. All the ratios are there in the tube. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. And other poverty index. Human poverty index means this is measuring the human poverty. Okay, the people who are not cared by the parents, any people. Okay, consumption poverty index means they are calculating the consumption poverty. Okay, consumption poverty means the person who are not able to achieve the minimum calorie level. Okay, so the poverty gap index means the Poverty gap. Poverty gap means your income level and poverty. Imagine earning 1,000 rupees, less than 1,000 rupees is the poverty line, right? This is the poverty line. Okay. Earning less than 1,000 rupees is the poverty. And you are earning 2,500 rupees per day. You are earning 2,500 rupees per day. And 1,000 rupees per day is the poverty line. So the gap between these two, 1,500 rupees, this is the poverty gap. Okay. Very simple as that. And multidimensional poverty index measures the multiple deprivations of household health, education, and living standards. So that doesn't impact more in the exam paper. So you don't have to worry about that. So this will be the basic concept of 11.5 poverty. Okay, so after that we can move to, there are some questions you can try to answer. After that we can move to the key statistics of Sri Lanka about the poverty. Okay, simple as that. So I will give you around 5 minutes will be enough. Please have the proper notes on it. Okay. Next, we look at the poverty in Sri Lanka. So, just highlight in the page number 26, our national poverty rate, our national poverty rate is how much? 25.9 percentage. Okay, so which means out of 100 Sri Lankans, every 25 Sri Lankans are under the poverty, are in poverty. Okay, 25.9. Okay, so lowest poverty head count. Okay, so the people in the Colombo have the lowest poverty. Lowest poverty, Colombo district. Highest poverty, highest poverty, Mullaitivu. Mullaitivu district, highest poverty. Province, lowest poverty province, Western. Okay, but highest poverty province is Central. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, so, the Department of Census and Statistics are saying this. Okay, so yes, urban city poverty is 15 percentage, rural city poverty is 26 percentage, estate sector poverty is 63 percentage, which means 100 people who are in the estate sector, 100 people who are in the estate sector, nearly 63 percentage people are under the poverty. I think the people who are in the estate sector, such as in the Nuvarelia, Kandy, Matale, so that's the central province, right? So on those provinces, we are having a huge amount of estates. You know, the estate workers are, I think in the recent days, they are struggling to earn 1,000 rupees income per day. They are asking their wage hike for 1,000 rupees. Okay, so I think 4 to 3 years back, they are asking the government, please increase our wage for 1,000 rupees, because on that period they only paid, I think, 800 or 700 something for a day. Okay, so I think on that scenario only the central province is known as for the highest poverty rate. But you may ask, so why is a Mullaitivu district? Mullaitivu district, but because Putra, Mullaitivu district, okay, the district only have the lowest number of population in the Sri Lanka. Mullaitivu district is the lowest number of population in the Sri Lanka. So that lowest number of population, so may this is the case. In the Mullaitivu district, okay, the number is also small. Imagine there are only 100 people there, 100 people there. Out of that 100 people, maybe 60 people are on the poverty, maybe. But if you comes in the province wise, Mullaitivu comes under the northern province. Northern province means northern province include 5 districts: Jaffna, Vaunia, Mullaitivu, Kilinochchi, and Mana. Okay, Mana, Vaunia, Jaffna is somehow developed areas. Okay, the people in those areas are uh, very much developed. Okay, the poverty of those areas will be less. So that's why northern province is not comes as a highest poverty province in the country, because the areas like Jaffna, Mana, and Vaunia are in a very good state. That's how we can say, not developed, are in very good state. But in the Mullaitivu, the number of the people who live in the Mullaitivu is very much less, and the income is so less. So that's why the Mullaitivu district is categorized as the highest poverty. But if we come to the province wise, central province, because of the estate workers, you can say, sir, the estate workers are in the Nuvarelia. So Nuvarelia needs to come as some highest poverty rate, but it's no, because the Nuvarelia district itself. Imagine this is as a Nuvarelia district. So only this portion, I think around 40 percentage people are only working for the estate sector. Rest of the people are businessmen, hotel owners, estate owners are there. Okay, so Nuvarelia district itself won't come as the highest poverty rate because the area there is developed first, and the people there is also developed because there is a huge tourism. So the people there can have huge money. Only the people poor in the Nuvarelia is the real that estate sector workers. Okay, so from the Nuvarelia, around 40 percentage, Kandy is a less amount, Matra is a very less amount, and there are some estate sector workers who are in the Badula. Yes, Badula also have some plenty of estate sector workers. So all together count, we can say around 63 percentage of estate sector workers are in poverty. Okay, not from the Nuvarelia. Nuvarelia, Kandy, Matale, Badulla, Monragala, Ratnapuri. So there are lot of estate workers estates in the around the Sri Lanka. So out of 100 percentage, 63 percentage are on poverty line. It may be a very complex thing you have to understand, but this is the basic scenario. Okay. So reasons for the regional poverty differences in Sri Lanka, just you can have a read on it. Just read and you can understand. Okay, and root causes of poverty in Sri Lanka. Regional factors, sectoral factors, and household factors. Regional factors, winding up urban-rural gap, war, riots, animal conflict. Okay. Sectoral factors, low education quality, large family sizes, and the low education levels. Okay. So we'll look at this root causes of poverty, which is very much important. Root causes. Root causes is very much important. Why Sri Lankans have poverty? So that is the root cause. First reason is regional factor. Second reason is sectoral factor. Household. Let's look at the regional factors first. You know, this is the area, right? Mullaitivu, which is having the very highest poverty in Sri Lanka, because the main reason is the war. There was a civil war which was finished at 2009. Okay, but that war went for 30 years long, around 30 years. We had a war. So most of the wars happened in the northern part of our country. Okay, so that's why the northern areas are in still developing stage. Okay, so if you went to the Mullaitivu district, okay, you can see the area, right? So, Memane, after finish your A levels, you have free time, right? If you can, go around to the Sri Lanka. If you are outside of a Colombo person, come to Colombo and visit what is happening inside the Colombo. The buildings, the beaches, the roads. Look at the development happening in the Colombo. After that, go to the Kandy and Gampaha and Galle. Also try to go to the Badula, Bandarad. Also don't forget to go to the north as well. Go to Vaunia, Mullaitivu, Kilinochi and their development stage. Compare it. Okay. So actually what is happening there? Actually I'm not discriminating, but in the northern part of the country still have to be developed. Because in a single I can say Colombo Adi Park Tiyanokota, other districts are getting only 1 and 2 steps. Colombo Anjadi Vekiranera, Mata district one and Vekiran. So that's the actual scenario. That's why if the region wise, Colombo district have the lowest poverty and the Mullaitivu district have the highest poverty because of the war first and the floods and the landslides. Okay, Colombo have the floods, it's a different scenario, but the landslides are happening in the hill countries. The Badula, Bandaravela and the Kandy recently have a Ditwa landslide, no? So because of that, Putam, there will be huge infrastructural damage. The Kandy that in the Kandy Puta after this Ditwa, there was a huge infrastructural damage. The buildings have been collapsed, the roads, the bridges. Imagine if we want to develop that again, we have to spend huge money, right? The government have to spend huge money. Also, the time constraint of that, it's a huge impact, right? So those things, the regional factors and the riots, okay. Mostly in the Colombo, we have riots, but I'm not discriminating, but look at the outside of the Colombo. The behavior of the people, in the Colombo Puta, people are always willing to work. Why people are willing to work? Because in the Colombo, if you can't work, if you don't work, you can't live in the Colombo. Because the inflation is very much high in the Colombo. If you want to survive in a Colombo in a day, you have to earn more than 1,000 rupees. If you only earn 2,500 rupees per day, only you can survive for a day in the Colombo. Because the house rent, electricity bill, water bill, and the food expenses, cloth expenses are very much high in the Colombo. So in order to survive, what you need is a proper income. If you don't have a proper income, don't stay in the Colombo, which is very much difficult. You will go for a bigger stage. A person will go for a bigger stage. Okay. So those factors is also very much contributing for the poverty discriminations in the Sri Lanka. Okay, so that's why Colombo district have the lowest poverty and the Mullaitivu district have the highest poverty. And the sectors such as education, health, education and health. Actually, the education level in the western province, the Colombo, Gampa and Kalutara, which is very much high. Okay. See, the district ranks and the highland ranks is mostly getting by the western province. Sometimes it will go for the north, south, and the central province and other provinces. But mostly, look at the top 10 highland ranks. If you look at the top 10 highland ranks in A level, out of top 10, 6, 7, almost 8. Out of 10, 8 people are from western province. 8 people will be the western province students. So the educational level and health level are very much in a top level in the Western province. So that's why the Western province is always the lowest poverty rate, and other provinces aren't able to compete them. I'm not discriminating, but that's the actual truth. Okay, even you accept it or not, that's the actual truth. Okay, and the household means the problem in the household, which means, how can I say that? Okay, I want to say it in a proper way. So actually, uh, uh, okay, actually, the people in the Colombo, okay, actually, if you look at the families in the Colombo, every family do have minimum one child, maximum on three childs, maximum three. The families in the Colombo don't go beyond three. Why? Why? Because it's very difficult to live in Colombo if you have four or five or six children. But if you go to the outside of the Western province, that children rate is very much high, right? Four, five, and six goes on. So, and the education level for that, education, the education level we have to give for the children, the health, the parents have to spend huge money, right? So because of that, the household will feel poverty. Imagine if a family have four children and the family is a middle class family, right? A middle class family having four children. So think how much of burden that father and mother have to bear for build their children, their food expenses, education, health expenses, how much of bear they have to bear, how much of weight? Huge, right? So that's also a big thing as a household sector. So that is also a big thing that root causes the differences between the poverty. Okay. So yes, that will be the main thing. After that, the steps to reduce the poverty, improving the living standard, empower the communities, provide protections. You can have a read and understand on those things. Okay, so after that, we can move to the 11.8 labor force in Sri Lanka. So, yes, I will give you some time. Please have a notes on it. Okay. Okay. So now we'll look at the labor force in Sri Lanka. So actually, who is this labor force? Who is this labor force? Labor force is the people who have ability to the work. In a simple term, සිංහලෙන් කියනවා නම් ඔයාට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඔයා labor force. ඔන්නාල වේලස ඉයලුම්නා நீ ஒரு labor force. You are a part of the labor force. Okay, so that is the labor force. Okay, so what the dude says, the total number of people of working age who are either employed or actively seeking employment at a given time. The sum of employed and unemployment persons in a country. Okay, so forget the definition here. Actually, the actual meaning is if you can work, you are the part of work labor force. Okay. So how the labor force is being calculated, it's a simple equation there. In the total population, in the total population, imagine the total population of the Sri Lanka is 2 million. In the total population, first we have to reduce the children, the people, the children who is under age of 16. Who is under age of 16. 16 means until the O levels. O levels, right? Yes. So that's the minimum age level for the studies. You can't put a person, you can't put a children who is under 16 for a work. That is offensive. That is illegal. Okay. So that's the minimum education level of the Sri Lankan needs to have. People, children under 16 and the adult over 60. You have to reduce them. You have to remove them. Okay, imagine the people under this is 500,000. Adults are 500,000. You have to remove them. Remove. After that, 1 million people are balanced. So this is a labor force. No, this is not a labor force. So, okay. So this is the active population. This is our active population. That is total population. This is our active population. So in the total population, we have to reduce children and the elders. Children and elders, basically children and the elders. So in the total population, if we reduce the children and elders, we'll get the active population. So the remaining people are active population. So these people are inactive population, right? No. We have a good name for them. These people are dependents. Dependent population. These people are dependent population. Dependents. Okay. So from the active population, we have to reduce housewife and full-time students and self-employed. Okay. So Imagine housewife. I think at your house, the mom is your some of the houses, your mom is not going for a work, right? Your mom is not going for a work. Only the father is going for a work on some houses. Some ආර්ගවල තාත්තා වැඩට යනවා අම්මා වැඩට යන්නේ නැහැ. சில வீடுங்கள்ல அப்பா வேலைக்கு போவார் அம்மா வேலைக்கு போக மாட்டார். So for some houses father is going for a work but mother does not. Okay, so for those houses those mothers are called as housewives. Okay, imagine in the Sri Lanka we have 50,000 housewives and the full-time students. So who are the full-time students here? The students who are studying A level, you, the students who, you, and the undergraduates, the students who are studying for a state universities, full-time students, they're fully focusing only for the studies. The full-time students, let's imagine the full-time students are 250,000 in the Sri Lanka. The self-employed person, self-employed means doing their own work. කාත් එක්කවත් ගිල වැඩ කරන්නේ කාගේ යටතේවත් වැඩ කරන්නේ තමන්ගේ වැඩක් කරාගෙන තමන් ඉන්නවා. யாருக்கு கீழேயும் வேலை செய்ய மாட்டாங்க, தண்ட வேலை செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு தான் இருப்பாங்க. So they are doing their own work, like we can say teachers, some teachers, okay, and we can say some software engineer starting their own business and working as a own boss. The boss and the employee who are same, some businesses. So those people are known as self-employed people. Okay, so and the injured people, retired persons, okay, early retirements. So imagine those people are 100,000 in Sri Lanka. So we have to reduce them also. After that we have reduced, we got 600,000 as a number. So this 600,000 is known as our labor force. Labor force. Labor force is what? You can do the work, which means you can go for a company and join as an employee and working under them. Labor force. Okay, so this is how you can get the labor force. So this labor force can be categorized into two. Okay, employment and unemployment here. Actually, what is this employment? What is this employment? Employment is you are a person, you, which means a person is working at a company. A person is working at a company. Okay, company. If a person working at a company or any other organization, that person is employed. So that is known as employment. Unemployment is what? Unemployment is what? This person is not going for a company. Not going for a job or searching for a job. Not going for a job or and searching for a job is known as unemployment. Okay, so this person under this labor force, right? This person under this labor force, which means he is the age between more than 16 years and less than 60 years. Okay, and he is not a housewife, he is not a full-time student, and he is not self-employed. Okay, so he is under the labor force that labor force can be divided into two, employment and unemployment. That labor force can be divided into two, employment and unemployment. Employment is what if a person is going for a job, that is employment. If the person is not going for a job, that is known as unemployment. Okay, very simple. So that is what I mentioned in the 11.8. Okay, very simple. Very simple. In the 11.9 also, in the page number 31, we can see in the 11.9 also very much simple. I spoke about the employment and the unemployment. Okay. Another thing is underemployment. Underemployment. Actually, what is this? Underemployment. Underemployment. Underemployment is what? Imagine, for an example, this person A have a degree and works as a waiter. Works as a waiter in a restaurant. Working as a waiter is a waiter in a restaurant, but this person has a degree. This is known as underemployment. He's working below his qualification, below his standards. That is underemployment. Okay, so the underemployment coming under the employment sector. Okay, underemployment is the part of the employment. This person have a job, that doesn't matter. But the matter is what? The person is working below his standards, which means the education level is high. He is having a degree at IT, but he is working as a waiter. Underemployment. So there are two underemployment, visible and the invisible underemployment. So this is invisible. Invisible underemployment, which means වෙයිට කෙනෙක් බැලුවම මාට කියන්න පුළුවන් එයාට ඩිග්‍රී එකක් තියෙනවද නැද්ද, এডুকেෂන් ක්වොලිෆිකේෂන් එකක් තියෙනවද නැද්ද කියලා. Okay, by looking at the waiter, can you say does this person have a degree or not, education qualification or not? You can't, right? Okay, so that is invisible underemployment. So what is visible underemployment? Visible underemployment is what? Imagine he is a doctor. This is a doctor. And this doctor supposed to work 8 hours per day. And he is working only 6 hours. 6 hours. This is visible underemployment, which means he is working below his time limits. Below his time limits. That is visible underemployment. You can see, right? He's supposed to pay 8 hours. He's supposed to work 8 hours, but he is only working for 6 hours. Visible underemployment. Okay. And next we can move to the unemployment. Okay. Unemployment, you already know the unemployment, and there are 4 types of unemployment. Yes, this is very much needed, very much needed. There are huge MCQ questions on these 4 types of unemployments. Okay, please note that correctly. The 4 types of unemployment. First unemployment is seasonal unemployment. Second one is frictional. Third one is structural. Fourth one is cyclical. Okay, let's look at what is meant by this seasonal unemployment. Workers without employment during the off season of cycle industries. Yes. Agriculture. Okay. Agriculture, there are some seasons, right? Agriculture. So if there is a rainy season, if there is a rainy season, what they have to do is they have to do the seeds and just go to the home. Okay. Where when they work, actually, when there is not raining, a mid level of raining, when there is a sun is a very good level, when there is a sunny time only, they work, which means they pluck it and convert those seeds, convert those paddy into rice. Okay, so the time period where the farmers do not work and sleep at the home, that is seasonal unemployment. Okay, actually, for a year, the farmers only work for 6 months. 6 months working time, 6 months resting time. So that resting time is known as seasonal unemployment. Okay, so there are some season the mango doesn't grow. So the mango farmers don't work the season where not mango grows. Okay, in the tourism sector, there are some seasons the tourism people won't come to the Sri Lanka. Likewise, in the June, July month, there will be less amount of tourists come to the Sri Lanka. Okay, so on those times, the tourism sector people won't work. So that is known as seasonal unemployment. Second one, frictional unemployment. Okay, so what is meant by this frictional unemployment? Workers temporarily unemployment while transition between the jobs. Okay, imagine this person, okay, a person is leaving his job. Imagine this person, this A person, leaving the waiter job and applying for a doctor. Okay, so he is leaving in the job. I think we'll say this person is leaving from this job from on April. Okay, he left his job on April and he joined the job on July. Okay, so we'll say like this person A, okay, left his job on April. April he gave the resignation. He a manager. Take the resignation. I won't work here. I'm leaving this job. Okay, I'm quitting. He left the job on April. And again he joined another job on July. Okay. April கியா April போனாரு July இன்னொரு work போனாரு July another job. So he is not working. He didn't work for May and June, right? He didn't have a job for May and June. So that is known as frictional unemployment. The person who is in on unemployment until they find a job, switching between jobs. Okay, so the gap is known as frictional unemployment. Next one, structural unemployment, the mismatch between the workers and the employees' need. Yes, the structural unemployment. So this is also known as structural unemployment. Okay, which means imagine we'll say like this. Okay, we'll say like this. A company needs, we'll say like, the company needs a chef. A company needs a chef who can cook Western foods. Western foods. A company needs a chef who can cook Western foods. But the existing chef only can food, only can cook Indian food. The company needs a chef who can food the Western food, but the existing chef who only can cook the Indian foods. So he don't know how to cook the Western foods, Western meals. Okay, so Western items. So this is known as structural unemployment. The owner is expecting the Western, but the employee, the chef, is only can cook Indian. The difference, right? So that is known as structural unemployment. Okay. Next thing, cyclical unemployment. Okay, what is meant by this cyclical unemployment? Caused by the insufficient aggregate demand during the economic downturns. Okay. So falls when the economy expands, also known as demand for deficient. So insufficient demand. Okay. So the what is the best example for the cyclical unemployment? Insufficient demand. Okay. So imagine uh, for a cyclical employment, insufficient demand. So what I can give a very best example is uh, in the corona, what we had for a cyclical unemployment, we'll say ah, cyclical unemployment. Okay. So we'll say the mobile phones. The mobile phones. Earlier, there was button phones, right? I think even now some people are using the button phones. Earlier, there were some button phones. Okay. Likewise, there are buttons in the phone. Okay. The buttons in the phone. So what actually happened is after the technology came, after the technology came, all the people are moved to a smartphone. Smartphone. All the people moved to the smartphone. So actually what happened, the people who produced the button phone, the people who produced that small button phone got disappeared because there will be no demand for the button phone. So if there will be no demand for the button phone, what happened? The people who work for a button phone company, the people who manufactures the button phone got disappeared because of this cyclical demand factor. Okay, so earlier we used the button phone, now we are using a smartphone. Who knows? 10 to 15 years later, we ignore the smartphone and we use something else. Who knows? Let's say we don't use smartphones, we use only the watch. In the watch itself, we can take photos, we can have a call, we can. There are some watches, smartwatches are coming on, but not that much of advanced level. But who knows? In the future, anything will be happen. Okay, so that is cyclical unemployment. Due to the demand change, due to the less amount of demand, the supply is going to reduce. Okay, due to the less amount of demand, there will be some unemployment. So that is known as cyclical unemployment. Okay, so these are the four types of unemployments that can have. Four varieties of unemployment, which is very much important If you can, please put 3 stars, because there will be a definite MCQ question in the 2026 paper. Definite MCQ question. Okay. Please note it down in your tute. Okay. Please note it down in your tute. There will be a definite MCQ question in the 2026 with the 4 types of unemployment methods. Okay. First one, seasonal. You know, the seasonal means the farmers and the tourists who are getting the seasonal unemployment, and the frictional unemployment, the gap between the job switchers, the structural unemployment, the expectation of the employer and the qualification of the employee, the cyclical unemployment, the less amount of demand, no jobs. Okay, so these are the 4 types of unemployment, and after that there will be some notes. The unemployment of Sri Lanka, the key characteristics and the reasons for the unemployment, and the social and the economic consequences of unemployment. These notes can be read and understandable. Read and understandable. Okay, so you don't have to spend that much of time in order to study that notes. Okay, because uh, if you are planning to do the unit 11 and 12 for a part 2 only, you have to study the notes. If you don't plan, I'm not planning to do this amount of notes in the questions. I'm not planning to do the question number 9 and 10 in my part 2. Okay, if you are thinking like that, you don't have to study that. Okay, but you have to study that unit number 11 and 12 for what? For the MCQ paper. So for the MCQ paper, these notes are very much important. So that's why I'm very much deeply explaining these notes, because these are very much important in order to achieve the good marks in MCQ. Because you will get around 10 questions, 10 MCQ questions in the unit number 10, sorry, in the unit number 11 and unit number 12. In the unit number 11 and the unit number 12, you will get 10 MCQ questions. Okay. So that will be the end of unit 11. Okay, the session is not yet finished. Okay, the session is not yet finished. We will be continuing to the unit 12 as well for today. Okay, so yes, please have a notes on this. Please have a notes on this, and we'll continue with the unit number 12. Okay, yes.